Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Cadence Spotlight. My name is Hailey, and I'm the Director of Marketing here at Event Cadence. And we started this series to shine a light on our client-facing team and some of the work they do to create extraordinary experiences for our customers. Today, I have with me one of our account leads, Elizabeth Marin. Let's get started. Liz, thanks so much for joining us today.
Happy to be here.
I know you're going to give a lot of great perspective on some of the questions I have today, so I'm just going to jump right in. The first thing I'd love to know from your perspective is, why Event Cadence? When teams are evaluating different event or engagement platforms, what do you think makes Event Cadence the right choice?
Well, I think Event Cadence is the right choice for a lot of our clients because it's not just a room booking tool. It combines a lot of real-time scheduling, visibility, so that all the teams can manage their outreach, appointments. Also, reporting, I think, is really awesome that we provide as well. So it's not just a software that they're getting or a platform, but they're also getting a partnership with us, another partner that they can work hands-on and have support from our team as well that understands Congress planning and how that looks like in, real life.
I love the way you describe that. It totally is that dynamic duo of a really powerful platform with, all of the analytics tools, but then when you layer in the team such as yourself, it's really, you can't beat that combo.
Yes, I think that's definitely what separates us for sure.
Agreed. And maybe that's what clients love most, but if not that, is there something that you hear clients say often that they love most about working with us and our team at Event Cadence?
Yeah, so I definitely hear that it has saved them a lot of time. And some clients will say that wherever they worked with before that didn't use Event Cadence, they really noticed that difference. And a lot of times I hear, like, when I'm working with a new organizer, I'll get comments like, oh, wow, like, where was this when I was on this other team? Like, we used to do this manually ourselves. And I think what they love is that they don't have to do this themselves manually anymore, and then they can spend more time on the field.
That's such a good point. There are so many features in our platform built to save time. I mean, just think about even specifically the amount of back and forth emails that they probably would have to send just to make one appointment. And then you have features like the Ask a Customer link that completely eliminates all of that. And when you give people time back, just like you said, now they can use it for more strategy, for taking a look at those analytics that you mentioned before. It really makes a difference.
Yeah, definitely.
Next, I'd love to dive into some of the differentiation. I know you mentioned a few of our features before about our platform, but is there one thing that you think that it does exceptionally well that maybe clients don't realize, on day one, but once they've, been onboarded, that really stands out to them?
I think one of our key features is being able to detect mutuals. Not a lot of people might know that off the bat, but especially when you're working with multiple teams as well or therapy areas. I know I've had one huge congress where we had two different therapy areas and multiple teams in each therapy area. And there was a lot of mutual KOLs or physicians that each team was reaching out to. And I think that's huge to have because otherwise they may not have that communication within their own teams, and they might be reaching out to the same physician multiple times. It doesn't always look great. It can look disorganized if they don't know that another team's already reached out, and it could be confusing. So I think that's honestly one of our best or features that people might not think of initially that we offer, and I think helps save a lot of time, helps coordinate, and also gives back time to the KOL as well because their time is very important. Instead of them having to come in for multiple separate meetings for the same company or team, they can now consolidate that and split the time as needed between teams and therapy areas and just have the KOL come once. So I think it makes everything a little bit more organized.
Absolutely. And then it reflects well back onto the company too. People notice that everyone's
Mhm.
looking to save time or even just to be thought of that exactly what you explained. Now the HCP, the KOL only has to come to that booth once, which we know in some of these large conference halls could be a 20-minute walk, then to go all the way back and
Yes.
all the way. So absolutely. I love that. That's a really good feature to call out.
Yeah. Definitely. And I think also just another thing to add is sometimes opportunities could be missed because they might think, oh, well, I already have a meeting with this one group. Isn't that the same? I'll just reply now, things like that. So that's also helpful to call it out if, you have more than one meeting with the same team.
That's a really great distinction. And out of the other conversations I've had with other people on our team, no one's called that part out yet, which is so true. You can see how it happens. They're getting a lot of invites to their calendar. So, absolutely, being able to make that differentiation for them is key. Now, have you been to a recent Congress where you've seen some of this in action? Any recent experiences that come to mind? Something that we did maybe to make a difference for them? Or can you share a recent Congress experience?
Yeah. So one of the congresses that I attended recently was in Berlin, and that Congress location is huge. And so I think one of the great things that we also provide is on site support. And I think that's very helpful in kind of ensuring that the flow of everything goes well, that KOLs or HCPs are getting to their meetings on time and to and from. And one of the experiences that I remember with that specific location is that it was so huge, it was very hard for a lot of these KOLs and HCPs to find the meeting rooms, especially if they were in a whole different part of the building. So because we were staffed appropriately, I actually spent the time walking KOLs directly from like the registration center all the way to the rooms. And it was like a 15-minute walk. I think I logged like 20,000 steps on the first day. But I think if you didn't have that, you would probably have a lot of missed meetings, a lot of delays. And I think that's just like a nice special touch that we bring with Congress planning and things like that. But we do, at least I know I'm very hands-on on trying to reach these KOLs, making sure that they're not lost and things like that, that I think just, helps ensure that the meeting is successful.
That's such a good point. Maybe you were also in a step war with someone and you were just doing it for yourself. Just kidding.
No, that could be possible.
uh, but it's a good point. And in a perfect world, obviously, we could send text walking directions or even a video walking directions through the platform. But sometimes, like you said, it just takes going that extra mile. And I know you and everyone on the Event Cadence team, we're really out to make the best experience for our clients, for the KOLs. So I'm really glad you shared that story. That was a good one.
Thank you. Yeah, I love being on site because that's one of the things I love being able to kind of see everything come to fruition. So not only just the meetings that we help schedule, but even just sometimes interactions with the KOLs. I'll have them come up to me and say, "Oh, you're Elizabeth. So you're the one that sent me the walking directions. Thank you so much. That was so detailed." And so like little things like that also just is nice to hear.
Fills the cup, fills all of our cups. We wouldn't
Yes.
be in the event industry if we didn't love being around people. So
Yes.
I totally hear that. Well, you did mention a little bit of the platform before and mutuals, but do you have a favorite feature to walk the clients through specifically? And then the second part of that would be why does it resonate so strongly with them?
Sure. So, one feature that I like walking everyone through is the engagement history, which is, I think, pretty cool. At least for me, I think it's really nice that you can see if you click on a HCP or KOL profile, you can see all the other meetings they've been to with Event Cadence. So, any other previous engagements, like any other congresses, who they met with, did they check in? Are they known to accept, their invitations and actually show up? I just think it's so cool to see that whole history. And like I said, it's not just room booking, you get those metrics too, which I think is cool to see.
Definitely. And the longer, you've been on the platform, the more data you have to view. And it is really nice to open up that timeline and see all of those touch points. Just helps put it into context too. Like they're all meeting with a lot of people. There's a lot to keep track of. So just to be able to jump in there on your app, see, okay, well, we talked about this the last time we were here, and here's everything we spoke about at that engagement. It definitely can be helpful. I agree.
Yeah, even adding resources, we can add Viva Link, just all these different things that you can add to the KOL profile and just make those connections, a lot stronger once they're meeting them on site.
Absolutely. That's a great one. Thanks for sharing. Just a couple more questions here. We talked a little bit about this, your step count, but what's something that the Event Cadence team does that clients might not always see on the surface, but behind the scenes that you think makes a difference for them?
Yeah, I think a lot of the scheduling even or communicating with the KOLs that we do, because when we do the outreach, a lot of the times we get the responses. So I think they don't see all that behind the scenes action as to like what goes into making sure that this meeting was scheduled. Sometimes, there's a lot of back and forth with scheduling, like if a time didn't work for them that they don't see, we do try to accommodate them and see if maybe there's an offsite meeting room that they can, meet at. And I think just those little one-offs that happen that they don't really get to see because we take care of that for them, which I think is great and they love, but they probably don't know like how much above and beyond we go sometimes with, these outreaches and personal contacts and connections.
Totally. It should seem easy to them. That's why we're here. So they don't have all
Yeah.
that noise. So it can be quiet for them. But I know there's a lot of noise, especially, a couple days before flights get delayed and this and that. Things are always changing. So I know you guys
Oh
work
yeah.
really hard.
Especially last minute, leading up to the event, that's when we start to get a lot of, oh, something happened with my family member, now I'm not attending, or now I'm getting there late, is there another time? So like all those things that we just kind of seamlessly do for them, but just to see what we can do to make sure that the meeting can still happen.
Absolutely. And you and the whole account team is great at that. You can tell that you really care about your clients, and I'm sure that comes through to them as well. Last but not least, headed into the month of love here in February, is there something that you personally love about either your role specifically or just something in general about working at Event Cadence?
Well, I love, like I mentioned, being on site for a lot of these events. Not only do I get to travel to a lot of cool places, but I get to sometimes be with my Event Cadence team, which, working remotely, a lot of the times you don't get that connection or that personal connection. So I do love going on site because I get to meet my team, but I also get to be on site with customer that we're with. So I get to meet them. We've just been planning for like months and now I get to meet them on site. And it's kind of just like a nice homecoming, like reunion kind of thing. And like, I think it's just an awesome place to work and just great experiences. But I think that's the thing I enjoy the most is, being on site and getting to be with everyone and kind of following everything through.
Definitely. People often ask, does it get old working at a remote company? And I'm like, well, we are fully remote, but there's enough travel built in where you are getting FaceTime with your colleagues, usually in a cool, fun city that you may or may not have been to before. So there's plenty of time for bonding, even in those, conference halls, long hour days, spending time with them either inside of the Congress or out. There's plenty of opportunities for us to connect with one another, which I really value as well.
Yes, definitely.
Well, Elizabeth, Liz, it was so great having you on today and getting your perspective on everything.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. And if anyone's listening to this video, you can learn more about Event Cadence at eventcadence.com. Thanks for joining.
Thank you.